Welcome to another Talk Dragon Tuesday with RPW. Hey guys, it is April 2nd, which means we're going into week 5 of the Spring Blossom season. Now this is an exciting thing because wave 2 of the Spring Blossom season will be, of course, joining us tomorrow. So pretty exciting stuff. Now here's the thing guys, there's so much information going out right now that I ended up pulling an all-nighter to make sure you guys had all the information for this week. There's that much. So if I sound tired, please forgive me. It has been a long night. However, if you're new to my channel, you're just getting here, don't forget before you leave to, of course, go hit that subscribe button and sign up for notifications so you don't miss out on future videos. And if you're also new here, please stick around so that you can see all the information that we share on every Talk Dragon Tuesday here, as well as our $20 in-game packs. That's right, guys. Every Talk Dragon Tuesday, we're going to do a $20 in-game pack. Sometimes it might be a riddle. Other times it might just be simply putting information in. So be sure you actually watch the video, because some of those riddles might have something to do with the video itself. It may have something to do with war dragons. It might be a riddle. And it literally just may be, hey guys, put this in and then you'll be entered. So stick around so you can find the information. And then, of course, we'll go over last week's winner. All right, guys. So what's coming this week? That's right. You're going to get to breed some dragons. Now, I love the breeding event. It is one of the easier events. I can work on some of my videos or whatever, but I'm excited. So when it comes to the breeding event, if you're new to war dragons, let's say you're baby level, I like to say that every Talk Dragon Tuesday. This is going to be an event where you're going to gain points whenever you breed your dragons, every time that you utilize your egg tokens or your mystic fragments. So keep in mind that that is something you need to save back for every time the breeding comes around, which is generally about once per month. So if you're new to the game, save those tokens. Now, of course, if you're tiny level, like under a level 10, I wouldn't worry too much about it. But outside of that, guys, start saving back those tokens so you can get the best points possible. Now, let's talking about the things that are coming this week outside of the event. There are a lot of things not only coming to War Dragons, but my channel as well. So, of course, as you all know, we have brought back the Back to the Basics series. And then, of course, that was 2 weeks ago. Last week, I actually brought back the Let's Talk Dragon series. But this week we actually have another old episode, or another old show returning I'm super excited about, and that is the Atlas Explorer series. So I'm really excited to be bringing this back and going over some more of those details with you guys, so stick around and watch out for that. Okay, so there are a lot of changes coming to Atlas in the update, of course, but there's a lot coming also to the event itself. So with the event, they've actually changed up the prizing structure a bit. They've given you a little bit more stuff, etc., etc. So we're going to be going over those details with you guys right now. Now, the first thing being, if you'll notice, under offense, you've got the offensive rider, and under defense, we've got a defensive rider. And that is because, yes, they have made this possible. So Adriac, which is there on the left, is the offensive. And then we've got Adriel, who is on the right side, as the defensive rider. These twin brothers can be obtained now through Atlas as soon as it opens up the new season. Now, the offensive rider is generally just like any of the offensive riders that we've gotten from Atlas prior. The way that it upgrades, you're going to get your dragon attack, your dragon HP, your specific, resist that you want to choose from. And then, of course, it's going to give you that ability to choose hunter attack, sorcerer attack, or warrior attack branches as well. So pretty much not much of a change on the offensive side. But, the defensive side is actually somewhat new to us. So let's look at the defense rider. The defense rider is Adriel. And, of course, with his skills, he's going to be able to gain up tower attack, tower HP. And then, of course, he's got a lumber production, food production, lumber storage, tower attack, tower HP, construction time reduction. And then, of course, another tower attack, HP, and more construction time. So pretty cool. This guy's going to be able to give you guys, another defense rider if that's what you're interested in, which is great because these are easy to build up HP, listen to me, XP, glory, whatever you want to call it on your base when you're being attacked in Atlas. So with that being said, they do have their own portraits. Now you're going to be able to obtain, the regular ones there's one single one if you get any of the branches. But if you get the rider itself, you'll be able to unlock all the way to the animated one. Now, there's also going to be a change when it comes to the gear itself. So usually you would go and you'd have 5 different choices. You'd have your dark, your, all the way through on your offensive and on your defensive side. But now they're actually going to break it down to where you're only going to have 2 to choose from. So you're going to have 2 in the offensive side and 2 on the defensive side. But basically the difference is you're going to get 1 for attack and 1 for HP. So you're going to be able to get an entire set, technically. Now, once you get this type, you're also going to get to choose what element type you want to collect along the way. And then when it comes to the gear, you can choose either the gear or 500,000 rider shards. So pretty cool stuff here. Now, there's also going to be a change to the prize structure within Atlas itself when it comes to these prize branches. As you'll see here, they've actually reduced the price of the badge cost on these. So, I mean, not up by a lot, but, a little bit, which a little bit counts. Now, they did reduce the amount of crafting scrolls you get, but the thing is, I think we get way too many of those compared to everything else. The breeding tokens, of course, staying around the same. And then when it comes to the crafting shards, that is, of course, going up a good tiny bit, or not tiny bit, but a good little bit. And then, like I said, you can actually choose whether you get the gear or you get the shards. So you're going to be able to really have an option to get extra, I would think. But this is a really cool change right here. Now, when it comes to the Atlas season, how you're going to be able to work with your team, this season it's going to be castle ownership-based leaderboard. All right, so let's go over the details that they've shared with us so that we can better understand how you can best prepare your team. Now, first of all, the entire Atlas Spring Blossom season, they say, is going to be made up of 2-week rounds. And then, of course, at the end of each of these 2-week rounds, the leaderboard will be updated with the victory points earned by each team based on the top 20 most valuable castles owned by that team at the time. Now, in order to gain these victory points, at the start of each week, each castle will start with a certain amount of victory points. Now, this will be based, of course, on the region that your castle is in. Basically, the higher the level it is, it's going to be worth more victory points. Now, every time that castle is conquered during that round, its current victory point value is reduced by 10%, just like the past few seasons. Now, defending your castle from an attack can actually also gain you points. Now, what do I mean by that? That means basically every time that you defend your castle, it'll be able to give you the best victory points for your castle that you own at the end of each round, which means if you keep it. If you lose it, however, it will not always work out. Now, alternatively, you could seek out and conquer other castles that are threatening your team's rank to reduce their victory points as well. So you can steal back victory points every 2-week round by taking other people's castles. Now, a castle's victory point value will not recover until the reset of a full start each 2-week round. Now, a castle's victory point value is visible to all Atlas players for not by hidden by the fog of war is what it's saying. So basically what it's saying is your victory point value, of course, anybody could see it. It's not going to be hidden by that little war situation, just like if you go to look and see how many troops somebody might have. That's always going to be visible to others, which might make you a little bit more susceptible to attacks, especially if you have level 3s and level 4s. So before you guys go out and get any level 3s or level 4s, really pay attention. Are you prepared for that? Because when these events come up, this is when you're going to be most likely hit. Now, if there is a tiebreaker between any teams, by the way, at the end of the season, they will be broken based on the team's top 50 most valuable case holdings. So we're going to actually go over the prizes real quick for this season. It is much different. There is no what do they call that? There's no portraits or anything this year or this season. But let's go ahead and look and see what they're giving y'all. So it looks like it's going to be expedites for the top first place team to the 500th team, as you'll see here. So like the first place team gets a whopping 1.1 thousand days worth of timers or expedites. I mean, that is freaking crazy. And then second, of course, 700, third, 600, fourth through 6, 500. And then it goes all the way down until you get down to, if you're in 301st to 500th place, yeah, a whopping 10. So that is going to be a big one, guys. If you're on a team and you've been getting close to getting into that region, it's worth it, guys. Go out, grab you some castles, do your thing, because it's not always about the timers. Sometimes it's about building that team morale. And then, of course, the extra stuff that you get as a team by gaining these castles, because you're going to get those bonuses and a lot of other fun stuff. So get out there and get those points built up for your team, and I wish you guys the best of luck. Now, that is all the information on the Atlas season, but let's go over the War Dragon season. We're going into Spring Blossom Wave 2. Now, I have my thoughts on some of this stuff we're going to be going over with you today. There is, of course, your new warrior, a rider, and the base boost. Now, the first thing I want to talk about is the base boost. So this is going to kind of put you in the mind of the egg token bonus. It's going to specifically set out on, giving you a boost for your base, giving you things for your base. So let's talk about the little details that you need to know about this new branch. Now, of course, the questions I'm getting is, should I get it? How long does it last? Is it even worth it? So let's go over these questions with you guys real quick. The first question being, should you get it? Well, that depends. It depends on what your focus is right now in War Dragons. I'm going to give you an example. With me, the big focus I need to be focused on is building up my dragon still. I'm just an obsidian. I'm a low level 300. That is not good. I'm still trying to catch up from all the quick building that I did versus building up my, my dragon side. So for me to go for something that gives me nothing towards growing my dragons and just growing my base is the exact opposite of what I should be doing. So if you're in that situation where it's like, look, I need to be focused, I need to stick with, my breeding, then you probably would be better off going for a rider that's going to give you those egg tokens and so forth. And the great thing is, you're going for the rider, you're still getting the rider shards to build up anything you might have, like a defensive rider. So with that being said, I would stick with focusing away from this unless you have leftovers at the end to be able to boost it up. That's my plan. Like once I've gotten, all the way through what I'm trying to get, which is that mythic, if I have anything left over, like let's say there's still, 3 weeks left in the season, then I'm going to come back to this just because I want those things along the way. The fact that I can get all those elemental embers, for example, and of course the rune dust. So if, like I say, if your main focus is your dragons, then I would skip it. However, if you're on the opposite end of the spectrum, you need to build up your base a little bit more, your dragons are, pretty posh where they should be, then this could be a great key option for you. But you do have to keep in mind that it's not so much the boost that you're looking at as a more permanent situation. You got to look at the prizes along the way. So we'll go over the details on that just in a moment. But let's talk about the next question, which is, how long does it last? Like I said, it is very temporary. So keep that in mind, because you get used to that boost on your base. Once it's gone, it's gone. You know what I'm saying? So just keep that in mind. Now, is it worth it? That is really a personal thing. It depends on what you need. If you really need those elemental embers, of course it's going to be worth it, for example. Now, you're going to be able to choose your resources. Now, what that means is prize number 2 and prize number 4 will allow you to choose a different, price in between them. So the number on those specific prizes are going to, really depend. Now, if you'll notice, for example, if you go through the second line there, it shows you all the elemental embers. You can actually earn up to 24,000 of these all the way through. So that's a lot. And then, of course, it shows that you can earn up to 12,000 ice shards, up to 12,000 fire shards. So if you don't need the ice shards and fire shards, I would stick with those elemental embers, because you're going to get so much more of those. And then, of course, when it comes to the black pearls, I don't know what its choice is. I think we're going to have to see that in like an actual action. But it only gives you like 4,000 black pearls. So keep that in mind as well. Now, if I was going for this boost, or I plan to next season, which I might, I would, of course, focus in on elemental embers and pearls, because I have tons of the others. Now, when it comes to the increasing your HP and attack, there are some things you need to understand. First of all, it's broke up by HP and attack. So you're going to get 22% total if you finish the entire line all the way through. Okay, but it's only going to give you 22% on your health and 22% on your attack. Now, the other thing you need to understand is this is on your base HP and your base attack power. So this isn't keeping into an account anything you might have on your rider, like the gear or any of the boosts or any of your runes or glyphs that you might have on your base as well. This is simply on your base stuff. So if you can imagine what other people see when they look at your, not your base, but they look at your profile picture, what that shows them, that your base attack is this, this, or base defense, you're going to get basically a percentage of 22% added to that, because this is literally on your base HP and base attack only. So you really got to think about that. If you are a super small player and your amount is super low, going for this as a key may not be as beneficial as a long-term bonus, which is like getting, for example, some fire shards or whatever shards you might need for your rider that might be a defense rider. So that is a thing, though. If you're looking for a key and you're not interested in any of the other dragons or whatever, this does give you that option. Now, the cost on this is going to be 30,000 sigils in total, and that will be for the entire branch. And like I said, that'll give you the key. Now, the reason I'm not going for this is because I really need those shards, and particularly for my defense rider. So Kazane, I think is how it's pronounced, is the line I'm going to be going for. And we'll go over here in a minute why. Now, Kazane is, of course, the rider that's coming out this season, and she has, you know, your portraits for you to choose from. Now, the rider itself is going to look like the one on the right. And then, of course, you're going to get the option of the backgrounds and background lists. Now, let's go over her rider skills. Now, her rider skills are an important one to go over just because, well, to me, that's important. Now, the thing is, it's got some pretty massive boosts, especially for the warrior attack and the hunter attack. So let's say you've got a hunter and you're needing a rider for this. You're going to get up to a 10 buff. Like, that's pretty cool. So that's a big one. We don't know the exact details on each of these. It's not giving us the percentages on the increase, but that is a pretty big one. Now, it's going to give you tons of different dragon HPs and attacks to choose from, as well as dragon train cost reduction. I wish they would do away with this, because it's like, I don't really utilize this. However, for smaller level players, that's probably still pretty important. I don't know. I could just be thinking in my level. But the reason I'm going for this rider has nothing to do with how strong it is and what it's going to do for my dragons. It's more about these shards. So with this dragon, you're going to be able, this rider, you're going to be able to get the choice between dark, wind, or fire. Now, I particularly have a dragon that I love, which is Somnus. You guys know that. And it takes a lot of dark shards to get this thing where I want it. And I, of course, have Tanok as my defense rider, who takes a ton of fire shards to get his stuff leveled up. So for me, that is where I'm going to be going on this dragon, is trying to get, you know, these little shards. And that's because, like I said before, you know, I'm really focused in on my my dragon side. So this allows me to get those egg tokens along the way, to be able to build up my dragons and get them bred up. But it's also adding these percentages to my base by getting these fire shards. So for me, it's more permanent than getting the base boost. All right, so let's go over the last key item for this release, and that is Gota or Gota. I think it's Gota. I don't know. Who knows? But point is, he has a spell set that we need to be going over, which is Eruption, Rising Temper, Molten Barrier, and Fire Flak Resist. I'm not saying this dragon is horrible by any means, but he just seems so boring because he's a warrior. But, I mean, ultimately, it's like, okay, for the Eruption, this spell has an 18-second cooldown, guys, and it's a red spell. So it's a pretty massive, it must be pretty impressive for them to put such a huge, you know, amount of cooldown on there. So let's go over this spell real quick. It says, upon activation, the dragon will deal 15% of the modified HP to all nearby buildings. The spell will immediately restore 50% of the dragon's modified HP, and the dragon will become invincible for 3 seconds. While invincible, the dragon will block Mage Tower super shots, both Rage Drain and Freeze effects. So if you think about that, guys, when you activate it, it's going to like basically explode 15% of your modified HP, not your base HP, but your modified HP onto all nearby towers. So if you have a good, strong dragon, this will be a big explosion. But you got to remember, it's an 18-second cooldown. And I'm not going to go against that completely. And the reason I say that is because Somnus has a long cooldown on her spell, but it is amazing. So that is Eruption. Now let's talk about her first passive spell, which is called Rising Temper. This is going to basically give your dragon a 35% increase breath damage. Nothing fantastic, nothing special about it. You don't have to click anything. It's just going to give you a 35% increased breath damage. All right. The next one, of course, is going to be the Molten Barrier. This is a white one rage spell, and the dragon will block all incoming projectiles and beam attack damages for the spell's 4-second duration. So it's only going to last you 4 seconds, but it only has a 3-second cooldown. Pretty cool spell there. Now the next one, of course, being Fire Flak Resist. I think many of us know what this means. It means it's going to reduce any damage done by Fire Flaks by 70%. I'm not sure how I feel about that one. Fire Flaks to me are not the biggest enemy on the base, but whatever. Now, when it comes to runes and glyphs, you're going to be able to get the Rune of Magma, which will increase your Molten's Barrier. The legendary one will do the same, increase your warrior attack. And then the mythic will also, of course, do the same and increase your warrior attack. Now, with this dragon, you're going to be able to get these samurai-like warrior portraits. It's called the Fiery Samurai. And I'm telling you, this second one is really cute. The first two, I should say. This last one's a little weird. Like, their face completely turns, like, gold. It's like, wow. Yeah. But very, very cool. Look at that sword just flaming up. Like, it's powerful looking. So if you're into that, that will be a portrait you will get from there. Now, if you unlock all the season keys, you're going to be able to get, of course, both mythics. And they actually have a special little prize for anybody that does this. So this is going to be, like I said, a special prize for anybody that actually gets all of these. And they're going to be exclusive building reskins that will be available, of course, later in the Spring Blossom season. And then, of course, you're going to get a free gift of rewards. So if you happen to get both of these, you're going to get a lot of in-game goodies. And I shouldn't say a lot, but you're going to get some in-game goodies, including breeding tokens, gold chests, timers, and, of course, this reskin. But like I said, this is if you get both mythics. So you'll be able to show off that you got both. Now, let's go ahead and jump into this week's giveaway. Now, of course, I want to first do the drawing for last week, and then I'll give you guys the details on this week's. Now, if you're new to the giveaways here on my channel, I want to, of course, give you guys the details that War Dragons is the one that provides these prizes of $20 in-game packs. So we want to thank them for helping sponsor our channel and for, of course, giving me the information that I could make up this video for you guys. Anyways, with that being said, let's jump into the drawing for this last Talk Dragon Tuesday and roll the dice, right? All right, so got the thing in here. Let's go down and click start. All right, start. Who will the winner be? All right. Okay, so it looks like the winner this week is going to be Whiskey Rider, who says that he's now a level 55. So that must have been a fun event for you during the fortification. But anyways, congratulations, Whiskey Rider. You are the winner of this week's giveaway. All right, so let's talk about the details on this week so you can figure out how you can enter for a chance to win on my next Talk Dragon Tuesday. Now, this week is not going to be anything super special. It's not going to be any kind of riddle, but I do want to hear back from you guys on the base boost because it's still a questionable thing. We haven't seen it in action. So I am very curious, what is it you think about the base boost? Are you planning on getting it? Whatever it might be. And then throw a little bit of an extra into your comment about why. So, of course, to enter this contest, you're going to have to go into the comment section below, put your in-game name, and if you'll get the boost. Go ahead and tell me why while you're at it. And then, guys, don't forget, before you leave, subscribe today so you can help support my channel. And if you guys really love my videos, don't forget to click that little bell so you don't miss out when I post future videos. And there are more coming. All right, guys, that is it for today. I want to thank you all for coming in and supporting me, and hopefully you got all the information you need. Until next time.